Wait, James Corden is a bad human? I genuinely would never have guessed. I never watched any of his content, but especially after this incident, I was out and a lot of other people were. Now, owner of known celebrity hotspot Balthazar has outed him once again and brought his abusive behavior back into the tabloids. Owner of the 25-year-old institution called James Corden a tiny cretin of a man, called him the most abusive customer in all 25 years of the restaurant's history.
James Corden's finally addressed the drama, and it's the weirdest response ever. He's come out and said, I haven't done anything wrong on any level. I feel so zen about the whole thing because I think it's so silly. I just think it's beneath all of us.
So what does James Corden do when you have been called out for being something that many people who are even the most casual followers of blind items or people who just kind of pick up on the nuances of gossip columns, something that we've known all along, that this guy's a real tool?
No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
There's a specific kind of satisfaction that comes when someone who's been playing nice for years finally gets exposed for exactly who they are. Now multiply that feeling by 1,000,000, add in some forced laughter, cringeworthy sing-alongs, and a whole lot of Hollywood privilege, and what you get is the spectacular unraveling of James Corden, one of the most deeply satisfying collapses the internet has collectively watched unfold. Because this wasn't a random cancellation. It wasn't a joke taken out of context or one bad clip that went viral. This was years, decades even, of people quietly whispering, yeah, that guy is a nightmare. Finally catching up to someone who had built his entire career on the illusion of being the warmest, most lovable person in any room he walked into. James Corden didn't just fall from grace. He tripped over his own ego, tumbled all the way down the hill, and then pointed fingers at everyone else on the way. And to really understand why this collapse feels so earned, you have to go back to a time when people actually liked him, which sounds almost impossible now, but stay with me.
We sit down, we ordered, and my wife explained that she has a serious food allergy, right? So when everybody's meals came, my wife was given the food that she was allergic to. But no, she hadn't taken a bite of it or anything. No worries, we sent it back, all was good. As her meal came wrong to the table the third time, in the heat of the moment, I made a sarcastic, rude comment, right, about cooking it myself. And it is a comment I deeply regret.
Back in 2007, James co-created Gavin and Stacey alongside Ruth Jones. The show became an explosion in the UK, funny and heartfelt and genuinely relatable. James played Smithy, loud and immature and kind of annoying, but somehow completely lovable. British audiences were obsessed. He went from a struggling actor to a household name almost overnight, and this was his golden moment. The window where a little humility could have carried him for life. But according to people who were actually around him, that humility evaporated fast. Co-stars later revealed that fame hit James hard and hit him quickly. His attitude reportedly shifted almost immediately after the show took off. Rob Brydon had to pull him aside and tell him to dial it back. Even James's own sisters were warning him not to let success turn him into that guy. When your own family is already trying to check your ego before you've even hit your peak, that's not coincidence. That's a warning sign.
When my friends talk about people they know or people they've met, we always take the mick and say, well, if you drop the names, I'll pick them up for you.
I tell you who does that. James Corden. He does that all the time. I go to him, I really like your shoes, and he goes, yes, Stella McCartney. I'm like, I didn't ask you who made them. I just said I like your shoes. But he constantly throws out names.
He always is.
When he got to America, he was, played the LA game really well.
Kissing all the right people.
Oh.
Anna Winter.
Oh, she loves him.
I know that, yeah.
Loves him. But who loves Anna Winter?
Exactly, Anna Winter.
I think she's the C word.
Yes, she is. And Ellen DeGeneres, she's as bad.
Instead of listening, James leaned straight into entitlement. He tried to ride his Gavin and Stacey momentum into sketch shows and movie roles, and nearly every single one of them crashed. Horne and Corden got absolutely torn apart by critics. Lesbian vampire killers became an instant punchline. The reviews weren't just bad, they were brutal. But rather than reflecting on any of it, James got defensive. Every piece of criticism became a personal attack. Every failure belonged to someone else. That pattern would follow him for the rest of his career.
Like the first time you stepped out of your sort of standard presentation was in response to Bill Maher. So Bill Maher had done this thing about bring back fat shaming, and then you took several days to sort of craft a response that was very funny, very endearing, and pretty poignant.
We know that being overweight isn't good for us, and I've struggled my entire life trying to manage my weight, and I suck at it, right? I've had good days and bad months. But in the meantime, Bill, please hear me when I say this. While you're encouraging people to think about what goes into their mouths, just think a little harder about what comes out of yours.
Then came the moment that should have stopped him cold. At the 2010 Glamour Awards, Sir Patrick Stewart publicly called him out on stage for being disengaged and unprofessional. This wasn't some anonymous comment online. This was a legendary actor, calmly and politely, naming the behavior everyone else had been whispering about. James didn't take it gracefully. He snapped back and mocked Stewart right there in front of the audience.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it. There we go.
From where I was sitting, I can see your belly. And that was right over there at the back of the room. These people down here, you know.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
That moment didn't kill his career, but it revealed something that couldn't be unseen. James Corden could not take criticism without retaliating. Fast forward to 2014, and CBS made one of the strangest decisions in late-night television history. They handed The Late Late Show to James Corden, a man most Americans had genuinely never heard of. Craig Ferguson's exit left a massive hole at CBS, and honestly, nobody was sure what came next. But the network had something up its sleeve. Carpool Karaoke dropped, and it clicked immediately, genuinely clicked. Watching Adele, Paul McCartney, and Lady Gaga belt out songs while stuck in traffic was the kind of content people couldn't stop sharing. The clips racked up billions of views almost overnight. Suddenly, James Corden was everywhere. Award shows, films, Broadway, voice work, hosting gigs, you name it. America fully bought into the persona. He wasn't threatening, wasn't edgy, just the cheerful British guy who wanted everyone to have a good time. The perfect late-night face for a clean, advertiser-friendly era. But while viewers were charmed, the people working behind the scenes were seeing a very different picture. Crew members started talking, writers started whispering, staff kept noticing the same patterns, how he spoke to people lower on the call sheet, how fast his mood flipped when something went wrong, how differently he behaved once the cameras cut.
James Corden, the former talk show host, has a reputation for being a dick. He is, and I'll tell you why. There is a guy named Craig Ferguson who used to have the talk show that James Corden took over for. I admit, I wish that that job had gone to me, or at least a female of some kind. Then I was asked to be a guest on the show. It was at Television City, which is in Los Angeles. So they had just rebuilt it for him to make it look different than the Craig Ferguson show. They warned me about the steps because I was wearing like Louboutins that were like up to here. They had to be at least 5-inch heels. Sure enough, He does his opening monologue to near silence, but whatever. And the live audience was there, and I love having a live audience to perform for. And I walked down the stairs, because that's how he wanted his guests to come out. Not come out from the back like a normal talk show, but to come down the stairs. So sure enough, I don't remember which stair, I slip and I fall. And the whole studio audience just goes like that, because I was bleeding. Now, I'm fine, but I took a spill.
Then one moment cracked the illusion wide open. During a game on Jimmy Kimmel Live, James was asked to name just 2 of his own camera operators, people he worked alongside every single day. He couldn't name one, not a single one.
Name 2 of the cameramen in this room.
That is a great question. It's a different crew tonight, actually.
Yeah, okay.
The room went quiet in that painful, unmistakable way. Jimmy Kimmel tried to brush past it. James just froze. And that silence said everything. This wasn't really about forgetting a name. It was about how little the people around him seemed to matter unless they were famous or could do something for him. From that point on, the cracks kept widening. In 2017, just days after the Harvey Weinstein scandal shook Hollywood, James thought it was a good idea to crack jokes about it at a public event.
Right here in LA, it's so beautiful. Harvey Weinstein has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage. I don't know whether that groan was that you like that joke or you don't like that joke. If you don't like that joke, you should probably leave now. It has been weird this week though, hasn't it? Watching Harvey Weinstein in hot water. Ask any of the women who watched him take a bath. It's weird watching Harvey Weinstein in hot water. Harvey Weinstein wanted to come tonight, but he'll settle for whatever potted plant is closest.
The room didn't laugh. The internet didn't laugh either. Rose McGowan publicly called him out, using the exact same words people backstage had been using for years: tone-deaf, self-centered, clueless. The criticism landed hard, and it stuck.
After facing backlash for this, he went on to tweet, "So is no laughing matter. I was not trying to make light of Harvey's inexcusable behavior, except that's exactly what you did at that show." He went on to say he wanted to shame him, the abuser, not the victims. "I'm truly sorry for anyone offended. That was never my intention." Except for the fact that a lot of the jokes he makes on that night sound like he's making light of the victims and making them the butt of the joke.
Then James made a move that truly accelerated his collapse. He did a Reddit AMA. If you've ever wanted a masterclass in how to torch your own reputation in real time, that thread is it. People flooded in with first-hand stories, waiters, writers, crew members, assistants, complete strangers, all describing the exact same behavior: entitled, aggressive, dismissive, and completely unaware of the damage he left behind. One comment cut right to it: a massively entitled nightmare. James answered a few safe questions, then disappeared from the thread entirely. But by then, the story had already shifted.
Half an hour into a New York to London flight, passengers in business class noticed a woman with a crying baby being brought through the curtains by a flight attendant. They looked on in mild horror as they saw the attendant directed to an empty seat next to James Corden. Expecting a huge celebrity hissy fit to kick off, Corden's cabin mates were impressed to see that he didn't say a word, he didn't make any sort of complaint. He simply put on a pair of noise-cancelling headphones, pulled an eye mask over his eyes, turned away from the woman and went to sleep.
Fair enough.
Pretty decent, they say. When the plane landed, passengers were surprised to see Corden remain seated as the woman with the baby struggled to open the overhead locker. And even more surprised when she turned to Corden and said, "For F's sake, can you at least hold the baby while I get the bags down?" The woman was his wife and the baby was his baby.
Nobody online was asking whether James Corden was difficult anymore. They were asking how he'd managed to hide it for so long. And here's where it gets even messier, because the backlash that followed wasn't driven by one explosive scandal. It was something slower, and in a way, more damaging. Once people felt safe enough to speak up, once they realized their experience wasn't isolated, the stories kept coming. And what they added up to was a portrait nobody could look away from. Starting with one of the most spectacularly disastrous films in recent memory, and you already know which one we're talking about. Cats didn't just flop, it became one of the most infamous disasters in modern cinema history. James played Bustopher Jones, a CGI horror show with human hands grafted onto a cat's body, and the internet had an absolute field day. Critics eviscerated it, audiences walked out mid-screening, and memes spread like wildfire. But instead of laughing it off or owning the chaos, James did exactly what he always does. He ran from it. He publicly refused to even watch the film, yet still expected people to respect him as a serious entertainer.
The world got to see James Corden as a fat pussy. He was also in the movie Cats, but no one saw that. And the reviews, oh, shocking. I saw one that said, this is the worst thing to happen to cats since dogs, right? But Dame Judi Dench defended the film, saying it was the role she was born to play, because I can't do this next joke.
That alone didn't sink his career, but it locked in a pattern that fans were starting to recognize. James wanted every spotlight when things went well, and he vanished the second anything went sideways. Then came the prom, and this one cut deeper. James, a straight man, played a flamboyant gay character built almost entirely on tired, outdated stereotypes. LGBTQ+ viewers felt openly mocked, critics called it tone-deaf, and his response made everything worse. He didn't listen. He doubled down, framing the backlash as people being too sensitive. Sound familiar? Because once again, when James Corden faced real criticism, empathy was completely absent. But the moment that truly sealed his reputation as a public villain, it didn't happen on a movie set or a red carpet. It happened over an omelet. In 2022, Keith McNally, the owner of Balthazar in New York City, publicly banned James from the restaurant. Not in private, not through a quiet conversation, publicly, on social media, for everyone to see. McNally called him, quote, "the most abusive customer my staff has ever dealt with in 25 years. The details were brutal. James allegedly screamed at the staff not once but twice because his wife's omelet had been made incorrectly. He reportedly berated servers, accused them of incompetence, and made the entire restaurant deeply uncomfortable. This wasn't a bad day. A restaurant owner risking public backlash just to protect his employees isn't a misunderstanding. That's a pattern." James tried to spin it, claiming things were exaggerated and that he'd simply expressed some frustration. But that response landed like a lead balloon, because the moment that story broke, a flood of others followed. Flight attendants, hotel staff, TV writers, drivers, crew members across different cities and different years, all telling the same story. People said he ignored his own family in public while snapping at workers around him. Assistants described being treated like furniture. Directors called him the most difficult host they'd ever worked with. Writers alleged he tried to lowball their pay and take credit for ideas he never came up with. And here's the part that should really make you think. James Corden wasn't taken down by one massive scandal. He was taken down by consistency. Every story lined up, every account matched. And once people started paying close attention, they realized the warning signs had always been right there in plain sight. Even his late show started to feel different. Carpool karaoke lost its spark, guests seemed less excited to be there, and segments that once felt electric started feeling forced. The magic had quietly disappeared, and without that viral charm acting as a shield, his personality was suddenly front and center. Ratings slipped, clips underperformed, and Hollywood began stepping back, not with dramatic announcements or public call-outs, just silence. And somehow, that silence said everything. April 2023. James Corden stepped up to a microphone and told the world he was walking away from the Late Show. He talked about family, he talked about a fresh start, a new season of life. But let's call it what it actually was. When the goodwill is gone and the whispers get loud enough, spending time with family is just a polished way of saying the exit door is already open. His final episode came and went. The big names showed up, the cameras rolled, the smiles were wide. But nobody in that room looked emotional. They looked relieved. There's a difference. and anyone watching could feel it. Here's the part that really stings, though. CBS didn't go looking for a replacement. They didn't audition new hosts, didn't pitch a reboot, didn't try to rebuild what he'd left behind. They just quietly shut the whole thing down. That's not a transition, that's a verdict. In Hollywood, having your entire time slot erased after you leave is about as cold a dismissal as it gets. So why does watching all of this unfold feel so strangely satisfying? Because it wasn't random bad luck. It wasn't a media pile-on or an unfair takedown. Every single person who ever told a story about James Corden had receipts, and the receipts kept coming. We've all crossed paths with someone like him, the colleague who's charming in the hallway and ruthless behind closed doors, the person who grabs credit when things go right and plays the victim the second they go wrong. That archetype is infuriating, precisely because it usually gets away with it. James Corden didn't. The mask didn't just slip, it fell off completely, and nobody rushed to hand it back to him. His story isn't a tragedy. It's not even a cautionary tale in the traditional sense. It's something far more straightforward, a person who treated people badly, got away with it for years, and then didn't. Karma doesn't always show up on schedule, but when it does, it's rarely subtle. Now the real question is yours to answer. Was James Corden simply misunderstood, a flawed but decent person crushed by a wave of bad press? Or was this downfall exactly what it looked like? Years of fake warmth and real cruelty finally catching up to him? Drop your take in the comments, because this conversation is just getting started. If you're here for the deep dives, the drama, and the stories that the headlines only scratch the surface of, subscribe to Glossip and stay close. This saga has more chapters left, and something tells me the next one is going to hit different. See you in the next one.